Hello and welcome. Today on the Expert Hour, I think we're going to use Infusionsoft to sync over some new contacts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new Google Sheet for our integration here. So I'm just going to open up the mail here and go to Drive. So we'll create a new spreadsheet for our information. Now the spread it could be anything along those lines. So I'll just say first name and then last name and email address. What else do we want to know inside of our contact record? Let's see. Well, might as well put company name, right? So, and you're wondering why am I doing this? When Infusionsoft has its own CSV file and uploader and everything like that. Well, uh, theirs does not automatically dedupe, and also I can have this pull every week at the same time. That way, if this spreadsheet is updated every week, and this could be like a trade show or something along those lines, we could actually automatically add those instead of having to go to Infusionsoft, clicking on my contacts, import a contact, go through all of that. So you can see in Infusionsoft here, I only have, well, PJ Leaper. And so let's do first name. So we'll do me. And I say Syncfrog. And let's do Luke Starkiller. Uh, all right. And so we have two contacts right there. So we have our first name, last name, email address, company, and that's about it. So let's change the name of our Google spreadsheet here. So we'll click on rename and let's call it upload for Infusionsoft 7/15. Cool. All right, so we have our file created, and like I said, we can add tons of more columns to it, but this is going to be really quick, simple. So now that we have our Google Sheet, and we want to map that to our Infusionsoft. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new data leap, and we are going to say our Google spreadsheet and our target app of Infusionsoft today. And we will go ahead and click on next and put our credentials in for Google, and we should have our file there, upload for Infusionsoft. And I will say incremental new rows. That way, after this, it will continue to provide the new rows, and we'll call this example 7/15, and click on create. And we will go to the mapping. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new company record. And what we will do is click on map new field, and we will use company to company name. Company string. Excellent. And our new error reporting here. So if there is an error, do we want to stop processing our stuff completely? Do we want to skip this section, continue? Skip the source item and continue. Source item and continue would be skip this particular record and continue on to the rest. So in the case of this one, we will skip the section and continue. And we want to create a contact that's related to this company. So we have our company, and inside of our basic types, we have our contact. We'll click on Add New Section here. And we'll be creating a new contact, and we will map our new fields. And the first name will just go to, well, first name. I believe that's, there it is. And last name to last name. Excellent. And we will do email address to, well, email. And we will reference and use our first mapping panel to locate the company. So we have our company ID. So what this will do is in our first mapping panel, it will create a new record. If there is an error, we just want to skip this section and continue. That way it'll just create the contact. And we have our first name to first name to last name, email address to email, and then our reference one company. So this will tie our contact to the newly created company and using the ID value, which is the integer, which looks like, well, not Salesforce, this value here. So that's the company ID. So once we've done that, we can go ahead and click on Save and click on OK. All right, so we will see example 715, and I will click on, well, not mapping. We'll click on Activate, and we will click on Run Now. Now we could create a schedule for this, and we could say, I want to run this daily at such and such time, but today we just want to run it one-off. So we're going to click on Run Now. And that's going to grab our Google spreadsheet data, and says there's 2 records, and we've had 2 successes. So we have 2 records processed, status finished. If we did get an error, it would say finished with errors, and then we'd have a select data. So we can actually view the log details and see exactly what happened. So we have our company being created, because we have our operation create. And then we have a contact being created. Then our company being created, then our contact being created. So what does all this mean? That means if I go back into Infusionsoft and refresh this page, you will see we also have our new records that I've created from that file. So here is me. And you see that our company name is brought over because I related it between. And there's a first name, last name, email address. And really simple. So here's our Luke Star Killer and their email address. And if we look at companies, you will notice that we have our new company. Now, we used a very simple mapping to just add the company name. We could use the company mapping to also provide, the company website, the work phone number, their street address, all that good jazz. And then also any company notes if you wanted, and also have, again, a contact tied to it. So here's our contact that is linked. We can also make a primary contact by setting up our mapping. You'll also notice that inside of our contacts, we have a couple custom fields. So we actually have a MPS. So we have a loyalty status, loyalty comments, a loyalty score, and I'll show you exactly how that is set up as well. So inside of SurveyMonkey, we have a MPS survey that we've created. So this MPS survey is really, really easy. It just gives you a little bit of insight about your customers. So it's just a 1 out of 10 survey. 10 and 9 are your promoters. 8 and 7 are your passive, people that would probably not promote your product organically. And 6 and lower are your detractors, people that probably won't speak very highly about your product. And then we also have a comments field, so you could use this to gain a little bit more further insight. That wasn't even English, but gain a little further insight on your customers, on how they feel about your product and or solution. So we've sent this out using SurveyMonkey's email capabilities. So you can see that we have 2 email invitations here, and we can actually analyze the results. So this was sent out to 2 people, and they've provided our scores. So we have PJ Leaper here, and also me. And you notice that my email address is also in there, and also my scores. So what I've done is I've actually mapped this over to those custom fields. So we should have a Infusionsoft that has MPS survey. Excellent. So what we have here is our mapping. So inside of this mapping, I've created a contact mapping very first, because all of our information is going on our contact record. So inside of our contact record, again, we have our loyalty status, loyalty comments, our score, and all the other information, right? So you can see that none of these are inside of there. So inside of our contact mapping, we have a where statement using the email address. And so we get their email address from our deployment. Since we use SurveyMonkey, we have access to the respondent email address, that's our email address deployment. So inside of here, we're using that email address, which is our respondent email, equals email address in our contact record in Infusionsoft. And in case we find multiple records, we are going to use the last modified. So you can see that I have my respondent first name, respondent last name, and I'm going to map over their email address as well. So again, we'll use that respondent email, and that's going to go to our email field. Now you can also see that I have a ton of other mappings here as well. And what this is for is these are fixed values to pass over our condition, our actual text, because inside of Infusionsoft, in this contact, our loyalty status is actually a radio button. So you have promoter, passive, detractor. So in order to set up those radio buttons to be checked, is we have to use fixed values with conditions. So in order to pass the value of promoter, we use a fixed value, and then that goes to our loyalty status radio button, and I set a condition. Now this condition is greater or equal to 9. So that means if it's 9 or 10, pass the value of promoter to that loyalty status. And we did the same exact thing with our passive, except with our passive, we set up 2. We have equal to 8 or equal to 7. And we have a logic based inside of this as well, that we're going to use the statement of or. So 7 or 8, and that's going to pass over the value passive every single time. And again, it's going to do the same thing for detractor. So we have our condition again, and this is less than or equal to 6. And that's going to pass over the value of detractor to that radio button for loyalty status. And we have our comments field of what could we do better, if anything, and that's going to our loyalty comments. No condition on this. And just so I can track the whole number response, we give it a score as well. So this is how likely would you, our very first question, and that's going to go to our whole number because we're passing numbers. And we also have our analysis URL, which will give us our SurveyMonkey URL right to the Analyzer tab of SurveyMonkey, so we can click on it in the Infusionsoft and have it show up inside of SurveyMonkey. We also have a fixed value for our source, so we know where this information came from. So again, you can see our source field that we've added over. And then we have our first name, last name. So we have all that information there. And if there is an error, we have stopped processing completely because I want to know if what's going on. So I will scroll back down to the bottom there. We have our MPS survey, and I'm going to click on activate. Again, we could create a schedule, run now, or I've run this before, so I can actually run from a specific data file. I'm going to click on Run Now. And again, that's going to grab our SurveyMonkey survey results. And we have 0 updated results, as all of these people are already in our CRM. So what we can do is I will adjust our settings here for our collector. So that was only using email invitation 1. I want to use all collectors. And I will say all responses. And I'm going to click on apply. Now if I go ahead and activate it, that should grab all of the collectors from our SurveyMonkey. So we should get 2 results, one from collector 1 and one from collector 2. And we should have an error that we can view. So if I say view log details, okay, we can't update or find or failed where the email address equals. Well, I don't exist inside of our CRM, so what we can do is I can click on select data, and we're going to say I want all, and I'm going to click on Google Spreadsheet. And what this is going to do is automatically put our Google Spreadsheet, our information into a Google Spreadsheet so I can edit it. So our error message will also come with it saying, I can't find or update this particular person. And that's the error that we're getting. So what we can do is in our status, it says contact where email equals. That email address is not what I have in Infusionsoft, right? It is at Syncfrog. So if I go back into here and I edit this, so I say syncfrog.com, okay, and I go back to Syncfrog, and I click on activate, we will have run from data. Excellent. And we have our lovely select Google spreadsheet, and there is the spreadsheet it just exported, and I can click on run. And what this is going to do is now pull our information from our Google spreadsheet. So again, it's going to grab that information, and we should have our information. So now we have another failure, and we can go through and do the same exact things. But since we have our success, we can go ahead and take a look at it inside of our contact record. So again, we have me here, and that was the email address that we used. So once I update this, we just refresh the page, we have our updated information. So here is our loyalty status, and that checked the selection for our promoter, so it's automatically going to say the word promoter in our loyalty status. Also in our comments, it has my comments, so if I click on a little check or a little pencil, we can see our information. We can also see our loyalty score and also see our link to the response, and that would actually bring us right into SurveyMonkey like I stated, and that will show us all of our responses. Pretty simple and effective way to view information about your contacts and have it sent out from SurveyMonkey. So that's integrating with SurveyMonkey, bringing all that information over to Infusionsoft. And also using Google Sheets, and we also use Google Sheets to correct our error on the email address. One note about the error handling inside of this is only paid accounts do have the ability to automatically provide those files into Google Sheets for us. So that is our Syncfrog Weekly Expert Hour, which actually is going to be a half hour today. I hope you learned a little bit, and you have a great day.